Hey guys, I'm going to do a little contest prep update here. Have some changing up my methods a little bit as far as what I've been doing the last several weeks. Results have been pretty good. Progression's been pretty good. So cut to the chase. Basically, I went into a ketogenic approach, which I explained in my last video. That worked. Worked fine, for a time. Did maybe 1 or 2 calorie decreases where I lowered fat just to keep progression going, and I got to a point where I was starting to stall out. Fat was getting a little bit lower. So what I essentially have done this past week is I basically did a protein sparing modified fast, the bodybuilder version. Protein's a little bit higher. Typically that's used in a clinical setting for people that are really obese, and their calories are typically a little bit lower. But mine worked out to be about 1,350 calories, almost all from protein. There was about 20 trace carbs and about 15 grams of trace fat, which came from my meat and a little bit of fish oil a day. The trace carbs were from basically just a small amount of vegetables, and that was essentially it. Just because just a little bit more volume. That type of approach is pretty brutal as far as the volume's low and the calories are low, so you pretty much don't have much to work with. By the end of the week, since I was already in keto, I was depleted of glycogen already, and then I further depleted my intramuscular triglyceride stores by basically pulling out the fat as well. So, by the end of this week, this morning, I was completely flattened out. I definitely got leaner this week. I definitely got way flatter this week. I was evidently visibly leaner this morning than last Saturday, but also, no pop to the muscle at all. So refeeding strategy came into play a little bit more and a little bit different than the previous refeeds, where I had been doing a full day refeed of about 600 to 700 grams of carbs, just depending on how I looked and where my weight was and so on and so forth. So this time around, basically I was wanting to look at what I would need a refeed to hit my glycogen saturation point. So I wanted to go just a little bit under that. I didn't want to get fully filled and spill, but I wanted to get pretty filled out, spread the refeed out a little bit longer to actually get some effects on leptin, and the bigger refeed too over a couple days just made a little more sense to me food volume wise. So basically what I did was, my plan is 1,200 grams of carbs. I've had about 400 today so far, and tomorrow I'm gonna hit about 800 today and about 400 tomorrow and hit my 1,200. Insulin sensitivity is going to fall a little bit after today, not a ton, but some, obviously. So I'll hit a lower amount of carbs tomorrow, but insulin sensitivity today has been nuts. As soon as this morning I had 75 grams pre-workout and another 50 grams intra-workout. During training, I went from having pretty much no pop at all I trained back and arms today, to being fully vascular, my lats actually having veins, and my back having tons of veins running through it. So things were picking up big time, pumped up really quickly, but I also flattened back out really quickly again. So the post-workout meal, I had Asian food, primarily sushi, and I filled back out quite a bit from that. But I was actually going hypo by the time I hit that meal, so my insulin was pumping. It was pumping big time, and using GDAs too. So everything was just shuttling extremely quickly and extremely efficiently. So the rest of the day, I have just some various stuff. I have some low-fat graham crackers. I have some cereal. I'm trying to think what else I have. Some rice cakes, potato, and I can't remember. I actually have groceries in the back of the car, so I can't remember exactly what else I have in there. And then protein will be there too, but a little bit lower. I had about 30 grams with the first meal, about 50 grams with the second meal, that post-workout meal, which I had post-workout. Obviously, mainly came from the meat on the sushi, the fish on the sushi. So these next meals, I'll just have a little bit of added protein. I mainly want to get the carbs in there. I'm not going to fill up all the calories with protein and my stomach space with protein. But the rest of the day, I'll get that done. Tomorrow, I'm definitely going to be fuller. I mean, I'm pretty much, I'm filling out already. I still have a lot to go. I still have a lot of skin that needs filled out. And I'm just kind of going flat as the day goes on because I'm burning through everything. So really, when you're looking at that glycogen, full saturation point, that's if I wasn't doing much and not being active. So I trained and I'm moving around and stuff today, so I'm further depleting everything, and my metabolism's picking up big time because I'm just sweating my ass off. I've been sweating all day long since I started eating, which my body was basically dead by the end of the week. I felt horrible. So everything's picking up. I still don't feel very good, but I mean, everything's picking up. So tomorrow I'll finish filling out, and then I'm going to go back to, assuming everything goes well, I'll go back to maintenance calories, around maintenance calories, what I assume they are right now, for about 2 or 3 more days, to let those leptin levels and metabolic function go up fully, and then go back into a deficit again, depending on where I'm at, like how I look and how much, condition wise, once I'm filled, the amount of deficit that I'll go back into will really depend on that. So I may go just back to keto. I may go back to, the protein sparing modified fast again, and just keep it cyclical like that. I mean, that worked really well for me. My body's highly adaptive, so the cyclical approach works really well. I feel like ass by the end of the week. I'm depleted as hell. I don't really pull my cardio out either. I mean, I left all my cardio in, so this week I did my cardio sessions calorically. Once I get the calories, I mean, they end up about 45 minutes each day, plus 2 HIIT sessions. I haven't had to increase that in the last few weeks. I've done everything through nutrition, so I'll just keep that there for now. Trying to think, but that's really been the approach right now. So like I said, the refeeding strategy is coming into play a lot more, and I'll kind of adjust this as I go. But this is probably what I'll continue to do throughout the prep, is deplete, refeed. I'll definitely keep the refeeds up in at least a week frequency, just because I don't like to be quite that depleted for too long, because it does get harder to fill out. I'm not afraid to get flat. That's not a big deal, but being that depleted of glycogen and fat for that long makes your cells a little bit less receptive, which just makes it a pain in the ass to fill out. So, and this is also going to help me figure out, how I need to load and stuff for the show. I don't think my weight, I was 204.8 this morning, 7 weeks out, so 198 is not going to be an issue. But at the same time, I mean, if I load pretty heavily, I could be pretty close especially weighing in the afternoon with food and water in me. So we'll see how it goes, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of update. I'll try to post some comparison pictures of flat versus fuller to see if we can see much difference in the photos. But that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.